On an ordinary autumn afternoon, my friend Amy and I were working on a research project in our school's library. Our high school was quite old, filled with many unused classrooms and corridors not frequented by regular classes. The library was located on the first floor, adjacent to an almost forgotten old corridor that led to some abandoned classrooms and the school's old theater. Both of us, being members of the theater club, were filled with curiosity and nostalgia for that old theater. That day, we decided to explore the old theater during a break in our research, hoping to find some interesting old props or costumes. We snuck out of the library, through the dusty corridor, and arrived at the theater's main door. Although it was locked, after a few pushes, it unexpectedly opened. Inside, the air was filled with dust and a sense of history. Seats were covered in dust, and the stage was littered with old props and curtains. We explored the theater for a while until Amy's phone vibrated. She checked it, and her face immediately changed color. The school was going into a lockdown. We looked at each other, suddenly realizing our situation, trapped in a rarely visited old theater with no one aware of our whereabouts. We decided it was best to stay put in the theater until the lockdown was lifted. However, as time passed, we began to hear strange noises, footsteps and distant coughing seemed to wander through the theater. Amy clutched my hand nervously, and we hid in a prop cabinet behind the stage, trying to make as little noise as possible. Squeezed tightly in the narrow cabinet among various costumes and props, some with sharp edges scraping our arms and cheeks, we tried not to touch anything that would make noise, like hats with bells or metal staffs. The air was thick with the smell of dust and old fabric, adding to the already tense atmosphere. The sounds outside became clearer, sometimes fast footsteps, other times muffled noises as if someone was searching for something. The sounds echoed methodically through the theater's corners, gradually nearing our hiding spot. Each time the sounds approached, Amy's grip tightened, her palms sweaty with nervous perspiration. Time seemed to stretch infinitely in the confined space of the cabinet. We dared not move, fearing even the slightest sound could reveal our location. Amy occasionally glanced at me with her eyes, a silent communication to stay calm, assuring me everything would be okay. Suddenly, someone began opening the prop cabinets one by one. With each cabinet, the person seemed to pause, as if inspecting the contents carefully. As the sounds drew nearer, we could almost feel the person stopping in front of the cabinet next to ours. Our heartbeats echoed in the cramped space, as if the entire world could hear them. Then, our cabinet door was abruptly pulled open, a flashlight beam stinging our eyes accustomed to the dark. We instinctively curled up, ready to face whatever threat might come. However, as our eyes adjusted to the light, the tension and fear quickly turned to surprise and relief. Standing before us was not a malevolent stranger, but our familiar theater club advisor, who had also been trapped in the school when the lockdown started. He looked at us with equal surprise and relief. The teacher explained he was checking the old theater in preparation for next semester's play when the lockdown began. Finding us there, he was both surprised and relieved. We sought a safe place to hide and decided to stay in the theater's tool room, which had a door that could be locked from the outside. The lockdown was eventually lifted an hour later, prompted by a police action near the school. Our advisor led us out of the theater and safely back to the library. This experience taught us the importance of staying calm in emergency situations and deepened our sense of mystery about the old theater and belonging to the theater club. Afterward, our school enhanced its emergency notification system to ensure everyone could receive information promptly. For Amy and me, that adventurous afternoon became an unforgettable memory, reminding us that unexpected adventures and lessons might lie hidden even in seemingly calm days. I still remember the first lockdown I experienced, which to this day, remains the worst. It was during my 6th or 7th grade. On that day, I had to take a makeup state exam because I was sick and missed it the previous day. I, along with a few other students and our PE teacher, were in a classroom. Suddenly, an emergency announcement came over the school's PA system: someone with a weapon had entered the campus. We immediately locked down the classroom, and my classmates and I huddled in a corner, squeezing behind the teacher's desk. In that tense moment, we realized the lock on the door was broken. This discovery made the already heavy atmosphere even more oppressive. A student, overly panicked during an emergency evacuation earlier, had accidentally damaged the door handle and lock, leaving a significant security vulnerability. Now, this broken lock made all of us feel extremely exposed, as if we could face a direct threat at any moment. Our PE teacher sprang into action. Knowing he was the only adult and our protector, he had to do something. We watched him try to barricade the door with several tables and chairs, but everyone knew that these obstacles wouldn't stand much of a chance if someone really wanted to get in. Still, his efforts provided a sliver of comfort, knowing he was doing his best to protect us. In those tense and uncertain moments, the footsteps in the hallway suddenly ceased, silence weighing on everyone like a heavy burden. Our PE teacher, a giant known for his humor and encouragement, had become our shield and guardian. As the attempts to open the door grew louder, the teacher tensed up, ready to pounce like a leopard preparing to sprint. His stance was firm, leaning slightly forward, ready to confront any potential threat head-on. His hands were clenched, muscles taut, ready to spring into action. The door was suddenly pushed, but due to the broken lock and the makeshift barricade of tables and chairs, it didn't open fully. This abrupt movement made everyone's heart leap to their throats, but our teacher seized the opportunity. He lunged forward, pushing the partially obstructed door with force, charging at the unwelcome visitor. His actions were swift and powerful, using his towering frame like a charging rhinoceros. At 6 feet 4 inches tall, he barreled into the person standing outside. The individual, clearly not expecting such a formidable force, was knocked down and quickly subdued. In that moment, our PE teacher demonstrated not only his physical strength but also his commitment to our safety. He pinned the person down, his breathing heavy, but his gaze remained steadfast until the police arrived and took over. Standing up, he assured us that everything was safe now, his eyes showing a mix of slight fatigue and indescribable strength. This incident shocked our community and underscored the importance of campus safety. From that day, as school shootings became more frequent, our school increased police presence on campus. It provided a sense of security, knowing someone was there to protect us. However, I can never forget the fear of that day and the bravery my PE teacher showed. He wasn't just a coach teaching us sports, he was a hero who bravely stood up to protect us at a critical moment. His actions not only ensured our safety but also taught us the meaning of courage and sacrifice. To this day, my PE teacher still works at our school, and every time I see him, I'm reminded of the protection he offered us that day and the value of the courage and determination he taught us.